everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kat, and for today we're going to take a look at the new Klarity Kosmetics Magic Lamp palette. And this bad boy is super duper pretty. It also, unlike the other Klarity Kosmetics palettes that I have, came with a brush this time, which is super interesting, and this is the color story. Definitely lots of fun looking shimmers in there, so I am very excited for us to do swatches on these. I'm already seeing a few that look like at a minimum duochromes, if not multi-chromes, so this should be super fun. I also decided not to already have pre-done my face, just because I was like, I wonder how much more bam it would be if, like, after I'm done with the eye look, I throw on my makeup as well, because I feel like having already my face done has just made it kind of where it's like, okay, cool, you threw on mascara. And so I want the impact for you guys to just be like, kerpow. So that's what we're gonna go for today, but we're gonna start off with the swatches. So here we go. So first shade up is gonna be Three Wishes, and this is a very light neutral shade. Almost blends into my skin. And it's just a really nice kind of very beigey, off-white kind of shade. So I think that would be a great transition shade if you have lighter skin tones. Otherwise, it would make for a great base if you have deeper skin tones to be able to apply some of the brighter shades to really have them pop. Then we have the first of the shimmers, and also the first of the ones where it might be a multi-chrome, and this is the Genie shade. All right, I am already seeing kind of a turquoisey blue, some purple, maybe a little bit of green. I will say that the initial swatch was not immediately opaque, so I am gonna add in a little bit more and press it in. And yeah, that gets you there right away. So it's definitely a very easily buildable shade. So here we go to show the shift. So you can definitely see some of that like deeper bluish, purple, turquoise, a little bit of the green on top there. So just a very nice shifty shade on there. That is super duper pretty. I really like that one a lot. Then we have Magic Carpet. Ooh, this is definitely softer than what I was expecting. Like first I was like, am I just touching plastic? Like it was so smooth. This is a light lilac shade with some yellow glitter in there. And it's interesting because it is very similar to those matte shades that just have like the glitter bespecklement on top that like as soon as you apply it, it goes away. But on here, that sparkle stayed. So that is pretty cool for that formula, that you can still really see the glitter specks in there. So that is really nice. I'll have to definitely see if that's gonna work on the eye as well. And the next shade is very similar to that, just that it's the yellow version instead of the purple. And this is A Friend Like Me. That's a very nice bright yellow. Very pretty. And it is similar. I would say the only reason why the like yellowish glitter on there isn't quite as impactful as it is on the purple is just because it's a gold on top of yellow. So it blends in a little bit more on there, but you're gonna get still a little bit of sparkle. Then we have the Iridescent shade in the palette. Ooh, and this guy, okay, so you need to be gentle when dipping into that one because it is a little bit crumbly in the pan. And this is Set You Free. Very nice and pigmented iridescent. I would say it has shifts between purple, blue, maybe a little bit of like a peachy pink. So you're definitely seeing some of the purple on there, some blues, maybe ever so slightly a little bit of pink in there. The pink is definitely the most subtle out of it. I would say the purple and the blue are like the clearest, and then just like ever so slightly you catch that pink at the end. But still very, very beautiful and definitely really shows up well. So that's a strong iridescent shade. It's not just gonna blend away. You could probably turn that into its own shade, like just by building it up. So I wouldn't even consider that to be just a topper shade. All right, next up we have another matte shade. This is A Whole New World, and this is like a nice turquoisey kind of sea foam shade. Very nice, immediately opaque on there, and I was not pressing hard at all on that one, so very, very nice and pigmented. That one did have a little bit of fallout in the pan, and it did do like some ever so slight staining on my fingers, so it does look like it's a pressed pigment on there, so just be prepared for that. Then we have a gold shade Diamond in the Rough, and this looks like it could be a foil. That is very nice, almost a more grungy gold. It has a deeper base to it, and so you're definitely seeing more of a grungy kind of gold rather than it being like a very warm toned. This is grungy, borderline cool toned gold. Very pretty. I would say very solid metallic for that one. I wouldn't classify it quite as far as a foil, but still very, very nice. Then we have what looks like a duochrome. This is the shade Street Rat, which is like a pink to kind of yellowish gold shade. Yeah, definitely goes from pink to peachy gold. So you really can see the pink on there. And then as I come in close and it's trying to focus, you can see the gold shift. Yeah, I would say in person, the gold shift is a little bit more blatant, but as the camera is trying to focus, you can really see it on the top half of that swatch. But in person, it is absolutely stunning with how it goes back and forth between pink and gold. So that's a really nice shade. Then we have a very deep plummy eggplant matte shade. This is Uh-Oh. Also beautiful. I mean, that is just, all of these matte shades are really impressive with the amount of pigment that's just immediately showing up on there. So that is absolutely beautiful. That's a really nice deep plum shade. Also definitely stains the finger a bit. Then we have the next shade that I think might be a multi-chrome. Definitely at a minimum is a duochrome, and this is Make a Wish, which starts off with like a pinkish purple and then transitions to like a peachy tone and then a very solid gold shade. So right here, you're already seeing kind of that split between the gold and the pink. There's all the gold, and then as I pull away, there's the purple. So you can really see how it just completely transforms depending on how it's hitting on there. Very, very beautiful shade. I really like how it's also more of kind of a purplish tone to the gold, and then you just have ever so slight that peachy pink as the shift in between, because the purple to gold contrast on there, I kind of feel like that's the vibe I'm going for today. I really want to incorporate some of these pinks and purples and golds and like maybe use the eggplant shade to smoke it out. That's kind of what I'm feeling as my vibe, even though normally I would definitely be wanting to use like the blues. I think today I am feeling a pink and gold and purple look. Which leads into a very appropriate title of Do You Trust Me for the next shade. And this is a deep scarlet red. Oh, that is lovely. That is a very nice, almost borderline cranberry shade on there. Very, very pretty. Really like that shade a lot too. Okay, this is really weird with this matte shade. So I tested it again on this finger as well. As you try and wipe it off, there's like a bit of a yellowish undertone, like a mustardy yellow undertone that you can see on both of those fingers. And that's like, that's after me having cleaned off everything else. And so you can, as I come in close, like kind of in the middle, you can ever so slightly see a bit of that mustardy tone on there. That is that like, what would that even be? Like a matte duochrome? Like how would you even classify that? I don't know how to handle that. That is, you definitely also can't see it when you're just looking in the pan. So I don't know where that came from, but that's really interesting. I'm not opposed to it, I just don't know how to handle it. I don't even know how you would make that. Alright, and then the last shade is gonna be Happy Ending, and this is a really beautiful deep navy metallic. There you have it. And that, yep, it's got a really nice black base to it and just a beautiful deep navy tone. Really nice. So this is the entire color story from the entire palette. I think definitely a lot of unique shades that I wouldn't normally envision going in the same palette, and so I think that's really fun. I am definitely feeling like I want to lean more towards the yellows and purples with like the pinks maybe as like a transition type shade. I might even use the red on like the under eye and blend that with the plum, since there is some yellow tones in the red. I'm gonna have to figure that out, but we're gonna go ahead and jump into the eye look next and see how we do. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna start off with some of these more matte shades. I think I'm gonna start off by applying Three Wishes just as like a good transition shade for underneath so that the shades will blend together a little bit better. Is anybody else getting that like super dry winter skin where it doesn't matter how much like moisturizer you apply, your face is still just like, you want it to flake away into nothing? Because like I did already do my skincare and my eyelids have primer and lotion and they are flaking away already, which is just so fun. All right, so the first shade that I think we're gonna go into as like a real shade that will show up is A Friend Like Me, which is the really nice yellow shade, and we will see if those glitter specks stay. So I can definitely say that the yellow is a very nice bright yellow pigment. However, the glitter specks do not really stay with the color, at least on the yellow. It does kind of go all over your face, and so like my face is already fairly glittery. Okay, so next shade that we're gonna go into is the Lilac Purple Magic Carpet shade, and that's gonna be for like blending in the middle and pulling a little bit further back, and then we'll go into Uh-Oh, which is the Eggplant shade for the very back. That's definitely weird. So definitely a decent amount of fallout on that one, and then just a ton of like glitter speckles all over my face and into my eyebrow. And I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but it is not really wanting to layer with that yellow shade very nicely. It's almost kind of wiping away to just let the yellow take over again, and so it's kind of coming across as like very patchy, which is unusual because I'm definitely not used to that with Klarity shades. So that's interesting. Yeah, it's not super duper wanting to blend. And I also do want to note that in the pan it is like flaking away, especially in that purple shade. Like I'm barely dipping into it and you can see just how much fallout there is. Like the whole pan, the whole pan is really just kind of wanting to break apart. So I don't know if that's because of the amount of like glitter that they put into it, that it's just not really wanting to stay together to like hold. But that's kind of very interesting. I've never had that happen before. I don't really know, but we will move on to the Uh-Oh shade and then see how that goes. So with that shade, it's also a little bit, it's definitely, that one's applying more so how I would expect. It's still not quite as pigmented as I would have expected for that deep of a shade, especially with how it looked when we swatched, but it is at least performing way more how I am used to. And so I'm wondering if it's just those two other shades that are just kind of going all over the place, because it's also not really wanting to blend in with that purple shade at all. Like every time that I go back in to apply the purple, it like, it doesn't want to harmonize with the other shades. So that is a little bit frustrating. I mean, we're definitely gonna go in with the shimmers no matter what, and so I'm sure that that would help out some, at least on the lid portion. But yeah, so far those two, like the yellow and the lilac shade, I'm not super impressed with those two yet. Yeah, I kind of feel like it might just be that purple shade. Like the yellow is showing up really nicely, and so I think I'm gonna go back into the yellow and just layer that on top and see if I can somehow get that to blend in with the deeper plum shade and see what that does. Yes, I think that. Okay, so it was in fact just the Magic Carpet shade that is that lighter purple, because this yellow is going together with the darker plum shade much more the way that I would expect, where it's just a nice kind of gradient that's happening. And the fact that the yellow was able to layer on top of a purple and stay as pigmented as it did, the yellow is fine. So I think it's just the lilac shade as of right now that was kind of the problem shade. So we're gonna go into the under eye. I think I do kind of want to keep it as like the yellows and purples. So I'm gonna start off with the darker plum shade just in the outer corner and just kind of stamp that in to create the shape on there. All right, I think that is already starting to come together much, much better. So I'm liking this a lot more. And now we are going to go into some of these shimmer shades. I think we're gonna primarily layer Make-A-Wish, which is this guy right here, just because I think that blends the shades together really, really nicely. And then we might use Street Rat on the inner corner, or maybe just this outright gold. Undecided yet. Okay, so that definitely had, as you can see, just a ton of fallout all over. But I did decide that based on how it was layering, that I didn't want to pull it all the way forward, because I'm going to blend the gold shade into just this like right there portion and then see how that goes. But I really like the color combination of the purple with the gold. I think that's really beautiful. So we're gonna give the Diamond in the Rough shade, which is just that pure kind of grungy gold, we're gonna give that a go just right here. Man, none of these want to apply with a brush. That's super frustrating. Okay, I definitely think that the gold goes together with that other metallic really nicely. It's just, when you have to go in with your finger, it's so much harder to blend the two together. And even if I just want to go in ever so lightly with the brush to blend them, all it does is wipe it away. And so that's a little bit annoying. And also just the sheer amount of fallout, it's probably for the best that I didn't do my makeup beforehand, because I would be so annoyed right now if I had. So this is definitely not a palette where I would recommend doing your face first. Definitely do your eyes first. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and clean all of this up and tight line, throw mascara on, do my whole face, and come back to show you guys the final look. And yeah, we'll see how this went. I definitely have some thoughts. All right, and we're back with the final look. Hopefully this is a little more dramatic now that I have my full face on, but I'm gonna come in close for you guys to take a look at everything. So here we go with the shimmers, and I tried to blend my liners in my waterline so that they also matched kind of the yellow and then into more of the eggplant mauve-y tone. And yeah, I think that overall, I really like how the look came out. I think that it's really, really pretty, and so I think it's, I really like the color story. Like, I'm really into like yellows especially, but I think the color combination of like yellows and purples, for whatever reason, has been something I'm really into lately, so I think that this turned out really nicely. I will, however, say that I do have a few thoughts on this, just upon initial reaction to everything, as well as comparing it to like past Klarity palettes that I've used. Some of their shimmers, for whatever reason, do not have a good longevity to them. To give you an idea, the Make-A-Wish shade that I have on top of my lid, as I was applying my makeup, which normally takes me like maybe 10 minutes tops to kind of slap it on my face, I had to reapply the shimmers. I also had to reapply a little bit of the mattes around the edges, and so it did not have like very good longevity, especially in the areas where you are blinking. You will definitely lose it in your crease. And so that's just kind of something to bear in mind. I was able to clean away like 95% of the glitter, so that was at least really nice. So definitely as you're doing your makeup, do the eye look first, then brush it away, whatever glitter fallout you have, and then apply your face makeup on top, and the majority of it will go away so you're not covered in glitter. But yeah, I think that for whatever reason with this particular palette, I just wasn't having a lot of luck with blending everything the way that I normally do, and I don't know, it just, I think the color story is beautiful, and I think that the shades look absolutely beautiful when they're swatched, and I think the eye look turned out really good. And so I think it's just, it was a bit of a struggle for me to get to the end result, which for me, if it's a struggle, I'm not gonna grab that palette because I have other palettes where it's not a struggle. And so I am a little bit bummed about that, but I will test out the blues in another look and let you guys know how I feel about it. And I'll also include this palette in my speed reviews so that I can give you guys an update on how it went. But just initial thoughts on it, I'm not super blown away by the level of difficulty that I had working with the different shades. So that's just my first impression. But again, I will give you guys an update in my speed review video. So keep a lookout for that. But I would love to know what you guys think of everything. What did you think of the look, the swatches? How do we feel about them? I definitely still want to try out this guy and the turquoise together in a really cool blended look. I think that would look beautiful, and definitely this iridescent shade. I want to see how that guy holds up. So really excited to test all of that out. I would love to know what you guys think though of everything. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you did not. Let me know either way, as we always do on here. And if you made it to the end of the video and you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe. Come join my family here on YouTube. We talk a ton about indie brands, so much of indie brands, because we all love it here. Really colorful makeup, all of the swatches. I will never show you a palette that I don't swatch. And so if that sounds like fun for you, feel free to join us on here. Join us in the comments down below. We talk a ton about makeup. I give extra little thoughts on other companies that I would recommend for different things. If you guys are looking for a particular thing, just pop a question in the comments and I'll make sure that I get to it and let you know what my thoughts are. But other than that, you guys just go have a good one.